Beekeeping, one job done twice. First with a straw basket, then with a wooden box. The words are ordinary ones, so let them come to you. Notice what changes at each step. Out we go. For centuries, two tools made an English beehive. One was a cow horn cut into a ring. It let through just enough straw to make every coil the same width. The other was a bird bone sharpened into a needle. With it, the worker stitched each coil to the one above. The straw went round and round from the top down into a dome. That was a skep. No machine, all of it by hand. In spring, the colony grows and the basket fills up. A skep cannot be made bigger, so the keeper made room in two ways. One was a ring of straw slid underneath to lift the hive taller. The other sat on top. A second, smaller basket with no doorway. The bees stored honey up there, and the keeper could take it away without touching the colony below. Now the hard part. Inside a skep, the bees fill in the whole dome with comb built onto the basket itself. There is no lid and no frames. The only opening is the rim at the bottom, so nobody could lift a comb out to look at it. To see one, you had to cut it loose, and that ruined it. Everything the keeper knew came from the outside of the basket. So how did the honey come out? In autumn, the combs had to be cut away from the straw. Nothing was given back. In England, the combs were often taken after the skep was held over a small pit of burning sulfur, though other keepers drove the bees out instead. Driving, that second method, did not end the colony. Driving works like this. The keeper wedges the full skep upside down in a bucket. An empty skep goes on top of the upside down one, mouth to mouth, pinned with skewers. A cloth covers the join, keeping the light out. Then the keeper drums on the sides. The bees climb upward into the dark and walk into the empty basket. They leave the combs behind. The keeper has the honey. The bees have a new home. 4 phrases from the straw half. By hand means without a machine. The skeps were made by hand. Come out means to be taken out. The honey came out with the comb. Upside down means with the top part at the bottom. And leave behind means to go away without taking something. The bees leave the combs behind. Straw does not like rain. So in Britain and Ireland, keepers built the wall around the hive. In garden and field walls facing south, they left arched holes, one basket to each. They are called bee bowls. A register begun in 1952 now lists more than 1,600 sites. After the First World War, keepers moved to wooden boxes and left the bowls behind. Now the same 5 jobs again in the same order in wood, making the hive first. This one is not made by hand. It is a box of sawn boards, open top and bottom. Inside it hang wooden frames, side by side. The bees build their comb inside the frame, not onto the box. Boxes of the same size take the same frames. When the colony grows, the keeper makes room by lifting another box on top. Same boards, same frames, just another floor. The straw keepers stitched a small basket on top for the same reason, so the idea was not new. What was new was that the frames inside could come out. Now the job that had been impossible. The keeper takes the lid off and lifts the frames out, one at a time. The comb comes with the frame and nothing tears. Hold one up to the daylight and you can read it. Sick brood looks scattered, with sunken caps. This is how a keeper first spots foul brood. The closed room had become a room you could open. Autumn again. In 1857, a German beekeeper pressed the shape of the comb into thin sheets of beeswax. The bees followed the pattern and built straight comb, strong enough to be handled. Then, in 1865, an Austrian showed a metal drum with a crank. You put a frame inside and spin it. The honey flies out, the comb stays whole, and you give it back to the bees. 4 more phrases. One at a time means singly, one by one, the frames come out one at a time. Give back means to return something. The empty comb is given back to the hive. To fill in a space is to put something in until it is full. And just enough means the right amount, not more and not less. The straw baskets sat in walls, the wooden boxes sit on stands in an orchard. And they are not all the same box. In Britain, one shape is standard, in France, another shape, and in many tropical countries, a long hive with bars along the top, a different design, not an older one. So the wooden box won, but the frame was not the new part. In Switzerland, in 1789, a blind naturalist built a hive whose combs sat in frames on hinges. It opened like the pages of a book. The bees glued his frames down and they stopped moving. In 1814, in Ukraine, a beekeeper put frames into the honey part of his hive with a divider to keep the queen out. Frames, then, were already old. What was missing was not a better hinge. It was a measurement. Bees leave a narrow path open about the thickness of a pencil, make the space smaller and they fill it in, make it wider and they build comb in it, make it just enough and they leave it alone. In 1852, an American beekeeper, Langstroth, was granted a patent that names the number, about 3/8 of an inch between the frames and the walls. His is the name most often attached to that gap, though who saw it first is still argued over. The patent lists parts. What mattered was the empty space between them. We usually tell tool history as a chain of inventions. This one reads better as a chain of limits. One fact decided everything. In a skep, the comb was part of the basket. Because of that, nobody could look inside and nobody could check the brood. The chain is still moving. In Virginia, the law says a keeper must use movable frames and must keep the combs so any frame can be lifted out without injuring the others. One at a time, that is not a law about straw. It is a law about being able to see. Let's check which 2 tools made a skep, a cow horn and a bird bone. What could a keeper never do with a skep? Look inside, the comb was part of the basket. And driving? Turning the skep upside down and drumming so the bees climb up and leave the combs behind. Was the missing piece a machine or a measurement? A measurement, just enough space, and the bees leave it open. One last thing. The word skep comes from an Old Norse word for a basket used to measure grain. The story begins with a basket for measuring and ends with a measurement. Play it again with the subtitles off, then once with them on. The 8 phrases are in the description. Say 2 out loud today, by hand and one at a time. Skeps are still made today by only a handful of people. Next time, another quiet piece of work. Thank you for listening.